Assiniboine Chippewa Cree from northern Montana. I am a full-blood Indian. I do have a daughter that goes to school here, Emily Greenlee. I know some of you have heard of her. She plays on softball, basketball. Where my people come from, in Montana, we were part of the Siouan people. Before the 17th century, my tribe lived in an area between Illinois and North Dakota. Nakota means people not at war. We were part of Indians that dealt with the Hudson Bay Company. I don't know if you've all reached that part into history yet, but you will. We are known for the people that always lived in the land of snow. What we call the land of Alberta, Canada, was always covered by snow. The forests were thick with trees. The elk and the deer were in great numbers. We could hunt in the morning and have fresh meat for dinner. The mountains of northern Rockies were so majestic. The legends of hunting parties to gather for song and dance. I was removed from my tribe at the age of 3. When I was finally able to return, my history was told to me by one of the elders, and this was done in a ceremonial teepee. I was asked to take a seat on a ceremonial buffalo robe. There was an eagle staff. He said, as you look upon the great staff, know that it has been placed in our ceremonial teepee since 70 AD. The story of our creation comes from the Black Hills. The story of our birth is one of creation by the Creator. This was our story. Many people believe our people came across the land bridge to the north. We have been here since we came to be. The sadness is those who dispute us cannot know what we know. We choose to guard our origin. The expansive tribes were over 500 and 150 languages were spoken. We are talking about millions of Indians on this great land when Columbus found what we call Turtle Island. Now, this week and a time before now, you've been participating in a project that we have going on in Milliken Mills, and you took a trip out there to walk through. And what I'm here today to talk about, a little bit about, is the Indians that were here prior to man living in this area, and it's the tribal coastal area. What you hear a lot about today is the Abenaki Confederation, which is where the Indians came from and was the group they were part of. And the eastern Abenaki people were broke up into sub-tribes. In other words, you would have a nation which was that had members of family tribes. And down in this particular area, we have what was called the Wakinak. Right, and they lived pretty much up in the hills from this area, but they would come down here to hunt and to fish. There was a time when the lobster could be caught on the beach. We are known as the people of the East, and our history in this area dates back 5,000 years, which is a very long time. The thing that really comes to my mind about a lot of this stuff is today you won't hear about these tribes because during a period of time after the Revolutionary War, the Indians were kind of pushed out and they fled to Canada. And it's only been in recent years, probably since about 1920 to 1930, that they started coming back. You all have heard about the Passamaquoddy and the Penobscot. And the tribes that you hear about in this area also are the Abenaki, which is down in this area. We truly believe that we are a sovereign people, and you know about some of the things that are going on in the news today about the Penobscot and the Passamaquoddy. We feel we are a sovereign people, which that right was given to us by the U.S. government. But today, some people are trying to take our rights away again because they want our land again. And the Penobscot River, which is named after our people, they want to take away for our right to hunt and fish. So when you talk about lands in this area of Maine, what we're really about is preserving and seeing and experiencing something that's been here for a very, very long time. And I think it does my heart good, plus a lot of the other people in union together here, along with you students, the teachers, and of course the Conservation Commission of Old Orchard Beach, is we're trying to resurrect an area of lands as much as we can so that you can vision what happened before what they call civilization. If we don't do these things, that area of land and the green areas we have around here will become parts of development that we'll have no more. The thing is we need habitat for our animals. We need habitat for people just to get out and experience the quietness. Now, when you were all out in the woods, you could hear the birds, but you didn't hear the noises of mainstream civilization, and sometimes it's good just to get away from things. And if you can imagine what you've seen out there, we can have areas out there that will talk about events that happened in the past. Now, were there permanent settlements down in here? Probably in the summertime, as hunting and fishing were taking place. And what would happen is they would dry the fish and the meats and the things that they would find. But generally, in the wintertime, the tribes would retreat to the mountains where they would have areas to where they could keep permanent lodges. Another tribe that you will hear about is the Secaucus Indians, which familiarized themselves with the Saco River, and we know that they used the Saco River as a mainstream area of transportation all the way to the coast. So when we talk about Indian lands, we as Indians do not define the land as belonging to any one particular tribe. We were open-minded in sharing. The unwritten rule was if there was a family in the area, we did not commingle with them unless there was a time of needing food. Then if another tribe came into the area looking to hunt, they would ask permission to hunt in an area that another tribe would be residing in. So the goal is going to be for the future is we are going to try to document as much as we know about this particular coastal area. Now, the thing to bear in mind is the bridges and things that you see on the rivers today were not here back in those periods of time. So the rivers generally ended up being boundary lines. In other words, an entire tribe would not cross a river, but only the hunters and the gatherers to get specific things. They did grow crops here. Corn, beans, squash, pumpkins. A lot of the foods that you eat as vegetables today came from the Native Americans. All of the beans that are grown in North America from around the world all came from the American Indian, except for maybe one bean. All the beans of the world. All of these plants and the things that you see growing around here were developed in what was called the Yucatan Peninsula down in the Mexico area. And tribes would venture, it would usually take an expedition 1 to 2 years to get seeds to bring them back. So for planting, so you had a lot of things going on with the tribes to develop. The dwellings that you would have seen out here, you've probably heard of dwellings, it's called the longhouse. And I don't know if you've all seen pictures yet, but that is something that we can develop, which would have been part of what would be their main habitat or tribal area. But they would have constructed on temporary basis down here what is called like a teepee. In other words, you wouldn't have seen the skins around it from the buffaloes and things out here, but you would have seen a teepee made with bark and that type of thing wrapped around the teepee, traditional dwelling of. Some of the artifacts that I brought today, which would have been some common things that you would have seen during the period, was, of course, you see me play the flute. I'm a Native American, so I have the right to possess eagle feather. This is a golden eagle wing, and it was given to me by the Penobscot Indians for the work that I do in schools and around as an elder. When I became an elder, my tribe out west presented me with a traditional pipe. I know in history you all have heard it, it's called the peace pipe. It's not a peace pipe, it's called a medicine pipe. And the reason we call it for medicine is we would always use this to do prayers and to sit with people and try to ask for good vibrations and that sort of things when we had discussions. So when you hear the talk out west of sitting down and doing the pipe, the reason for that from the American point of view, Indian point of view, was to have good energy in discussions. And today, that is what is really needed here in Maine, is the pipe. As we move along in this, you're going to want to ask me some questions. There's nothing that you can ask me will offend me, because that's what I'm here for, is to give the side of both sides. My name is Top Sky Eagle, is messenger from the Creator. I am to give messages from the Creator, but at the same time to bring messages back, and it's shared amongst people. You'll hear a lot of terms today: Native Americans, indigenous peoples. We like to be called the American Indian. We, at one time, were what we call the inhabitants of what's called Turtle Island. That's what this whole area is called. But when they decided to call this the Americas, that we said, okay, we're okay with the American Indian terminology. The problem with calling people Native Americans, and the elders will really tell you this, if you're born in the United States, you are a Native American. So it's not a term that the Indians like to use, because we represent what we call the first peoples, but we don't define ourselves as the only people. We want to share. And so anything about this continent and the things that go on was meant to be shared by the American Indian. We were the spiritual guides of the land to be how it was to be used, and we were brushed aside. Today, awakening is happening, and we are being asked to recall the old stories and to talk about how do we survive in this land, because we, the Indians, know how the rivers work and how the ecosystem works. And we can teach that we survive. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let it open up for some questions, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time. And I'm going to go ahead and start with you, young man, since you had your hand in the air.
Isn't a golden eagle endangered?
All of the eagles are considered endangered eagles. And the golden eagle is the largest of the eagle family. There is a golden eagle here in this area, and he resides over behind the high school.
Is Emily native?
Yes, because she is my daughter. And Emily has been to my tribe with me and was given her name by our tribe and by the chief after special ceremonies. And her name is Starwood, because the chief and the grandmothers of the tribe spent some time with her, and they found in her eyes that she possessed physical strength, she possessed wisdom of acuity, and they decided that in her eyes they could see the stars. So that's how she came about her name.
Do people just join the tribe, or are they born in the tribe?
No, you're born into the tribe. You can be adopted, but generally what adoption is meant for, like I became married, and so my wife was adopted into the tribe because she was married to me. Yes, sir.
Well, I actually have my own Native American name that I earned. My name is Calm Winds.
Good. Do you know which tribe that you belong to?
No, because I keep forgetting to ask my dad.
Ah, let me tell you something. You want to make sure you ask your dad and write these things down, because someday you may lose that contact and you're going to want to know. See, what happened to me was I was removed at 3, and when my birth father passed away, I actually inherited part of an Indian reservation land. And so they had to let me know who I was because of the land. And from there, I was able to determine my journey later on in life and return to my tribe. And the funny thing about my own particular story, when I found my way back, they had been looking for me for a long time. And the celebration they had out on the plains in Montana is really hard to explain. You will hear of a term called Sundance, and that's where I returned to my tribe. I was put out on a mountain for 4 days and 4 nights without food. And the last night, there was a huge storm. Lightning struck the mountain. And when I came down the next morning to finish my ceremony, both a bald eagle and a golden eagle followed me back down to the tribe, and therefore that's why I came up with my name. Now, when I moved to Maine, I thought I was going to have to go look for a tribe to spend time with. 3 days after I moved here, the Penobscot elder showed up on my doorstep. And he said, "We knew you were coming and we have a present for you." And they knew nothing of my story other than the medicine man of the Penobscot tribe said they knew about my coming here, and they had made a drum for me and done a painting on this drum without even having met me before. See the lightning and the eagle. So I have a special relationship with the Indians in the area. I am no better, no greater than them. They love that I teach the Native American ways here. Am I a chief or anything in this area? No, I just like to call myself an old Indian. I like to share a lot. So that's what this is all about. But what I'm really excited about is we're getting a chance here in Old Orchard Beach to develop something that through this class and to other students that come behind you, we're going to have some neat things to work with. Yes, ma'am.
Why were you removed from the tribe?
Back in the late 1800s, they had a movement that was called, what would we call it? Trying to put an end to the tribe. And they wanted to split us up. Some of us they sent to reservations. But the real thought to put an end to the Indian movement was to remove the children and to send us to different parts and split the families up. So I'm a member of a family of 7 children. We were all taken and sent in different directions. I have found my family. I managed to find a sister and 2 brothers that are still living today. 2 of my other brothers I never found before they passed on. And I did manage to get to see my mother. Sure.
Yeah, do you have any specifics, like a specific story or a special story of the Milliken Mills area, or anything you'd like to share that you knew about the tribes there, or found out along the way?
Well, the hard part about Milliken Mills is nothing has been reported.
Right.
So this is a developing story. The best thing that I can tell you about Milliken Mills right now is we know which Indians were in the area, but probably prior to about 1725, there may have been a few in this area, but once they had an event called King Philip's War, the Indians were pushed out of this area, and finding the elders is very hard to do because they went to Canada and most of them didn't come back.
Maybe that'll be a mission for next year's class, just
Yes.
to locate some people
develop.
and try to see if we can get in contact with someone and develop some sort of history of the area.
Yep, and they'll learn about the whole Indian removal. They'll read Cheyenne again.
I have
Okay.
several presentations on the Indian removal and repatriation that we can do with videos and that thing.
Do we have any more questions for Mr. Greenlee? And then we're gonna get to work.
Sir?
Anyone else?
What if you're only like 1/3 or a quarter of an Indian, but you've never been to your tribe before?
The feeling of the American Indian is if you have 1 drop of blood in your veins, you're an American Indian. Now, because of the government's attempt as far as land and college and that sort of thing, the school of thought is quarter Indian, but that's not how it works. It's actually called blood quantum, and you have to be what's called 7/64. That's their term, and that's defined by the U.S. government, which is pretty much a quarter, but they always got to come up with some language to make it difficult. And yes, I am an enrolled Indian in the Little Shell Indians of Montana. Yes. Oh, okay. So, if you're ready to
Yeah.
get to work, we're going to get to work.
Can you guys say thank you?
Thank you.
So what we're gonna do? Oh, go ahead, Max. One last question.
Just one question.
Yeah.
What about that statue?
The cool statue. This was a gift this Christmas from my tribe, and obviously it's an eagle for the work that I've been doing with the schools in the area. And so I kind of take it around and share it because of the messages that I'm supposed to give to the world. But this is one piece of wood. It comes from Africa, and it was carved into an eagle standing on the globe. And it was a gift to me because of my name. Sir?
I think I know why it's like black and yellow, like nighttime and daylight.
Could be. That's the good thing about learning about being an American Indian is you learn to feel the things other than what is written before you, to open your mind and to think. And that's one of the neat things about this situation here about developing these trails. You're going to get a chance to share your mind a bit. This becomes a part of you. And when you go to the woods or come back from the woods, you all become a part of the energy out there. So even if you move on in years and go away from here, you all will be a part of that woods out there forever.
So remember what Bounty said yesterday? Do you want to repeat what you said yesterday? No? Does someone else want to kind of repeat what he said? Put it into their own words? We talked about the work that we were doing.
Our vision list?
And, no, we talked about the work we're doing, how important it was, and
Oh, I remember.
you want to say it? If Bounty doesn't want to?
Didn't you say like it wasn't just a little fourth grade project?
Yeah.
You have to
It was-
put more effort into it and stuff like that.
Right, because this is a real project for real people, and you guys are part of the real people when you're out there on the trail. This trail is for you, and the effort you put in, other people reap those rewards. When they go out there, they'll be able to really enjoy that trail. And like Mr. Greenlee just said, the energy you put into it, the positive energy, people are going to feel it when they're out there. So put your best effort in, and you guys are, which is really, we've been really impressed with. So you guys are doing a great job, and then the good lead into getting started today. So Mr. Greenlee's going to go with the history team. You guys can set up. If you think of another question for Mr. Greenlee, he'll be here all morning, so you can ask it. So don't think you've lost an opportunity. And everybody has the revision list from yesterday. You know exactly what you need to do, so get with your groups and let's go to work. Say thank you again. That was great.
Thank you for having me.